Hello and welcome everyone. We've got some fantastic guests with us today for our first session of this academic year for Microsoft. So today we're going to be having a look at the Showcase Schools program, and we've got a couple of, like we said, fantastic guests who have been through the incubator program and who have all recently graduated into becoming Showcase Schools. So I'll start with Simon. If you just give us like a very quick 10-second who you are, where you're from, and we'll just kind of make our way around everyone and just kind of introduce from there. So Simon.
That's always a start. You laugh at someone else doing, not yourself. So thank you very much, Niall, for that. I'm Simon Luxford-Moore, and I'm the head of e-learning here at ESMS in Edinburgh.
Nice one. How about yourself, Sarah?
Hi, so I'm Sarah Wiley. I'm PT Business Education and a volunteer digital champion at Mar College in Shroom.
Nice one. Thank you very much. And Olivier.
I'm Olivier. I'm a PT Modern Languages at Armadale Academy in West Lothian, and I'm also the Digital Learning Coordinator.
Fantastic. Thank you all. And I'm Niall, so I'm a part of Tablet Academy Scotland, TA Scotland, and we're here on behalf of Microsoft to kind of support this session and to kind of let's have a great time and enjoy the session from today. So I'm just going to pop up the kind of presentation for us all there. That image on the left, I don't know why it stretched a wee bit when I was downloading the presentation. Don't know what happened there, but it's absolutely fine. So here we have today's session. How could your school become a Microsoft Showcase school? So, it's disappeared there. Press the button. So as I said, I'm Niall. You can find me on Twitter at Niall Ridgway. You can also find Tablet Academy Scotland here, TA Scotland at TA Scotland as well. I've also got down in the bottom there everybody's Twitter handles, so I'll be popping these up throughout today's session. Please do use the live chat to ask any questions you've got about the incubator program / Showcase School program. Let us know any questions you've got, and please do tweet at us. All of our handles are there for you to find us and ask any questions that you've got. Throughout today's session, we've got our main hashtag that we use up here in Scotland is Team MIEE Scotland. So if you are using Twitter, please do use the hashtag. It means we can find your questions and any of your images or any of your kind of posts a wee bit easier. We've also got our Microsoft Learn code from today as well. You can find it going along the ticker at the bottom there. So I think there we go. It's coming up, L6329M. If you're using Microsoft Learn, then you can include this in your certification and just kind of evidence that you've taken part today. And at the end of today's session, we'll give you a bit of time, but we've got a little survey just at the end, just to kind of let us know how we've all done and kind of tell us your favorite bits from today's session. So I'm going to stop that little ticker there and I'm going to head on to Simon. So I'm going to pull poor Olivier and Sarah out just now, and I'm going to hand over to Simon Luxford-Moore, who's going to tell us a little bit about the journey that your school went through joining the incubator program. And I'll just kind of hand over to you, Simon. So
Thanks, now. I'd say, the first and foremost, I'll be honest with you, we joined the program for all the wrong reasons at the start. We did it to begin with, or I looked into it to begin with, because I thought that the accolade of a Showcase school was the be-all and end-all. And I'll be honest now, before you start throwing stuff at me, this came on the back of obviously our lockdown situations that we had, and I wanted some way for a recognition for our staff, for all their hard work. It's very nice to hear from families and indeed other schools that our provision was so good, and to try and keep learning and teaching as close to normal as it was during that time period. And I thought this would be the best way to say well done to people. And the moment I started looking into this program, I realized actually that's not the accolade. That's not the be all and end all. And I know it sounds twee, but the journey was far sweeter than the badge at the end of the day. And that's why we were on the incubator program for 2 years, because it was 2 fabulous years where we were able to define our vision that we really wanted. It gave us time to reflect on ourselves, to look at the successes that we had done in terms of EdTech and in terms of the value and impact that had on our families, our students and our staff. But the finished journey and the badge of saying Showcase, that was in the distance. And I can remember saying to Luis and Niall during this program and this process, if we never get it, it doesn't matter. We have won already. What it allowed us to say, and I would say this to anyone else who's considering this, if they're on the incubator process at the stage at the moment, or even thinking about that, is stop for a moment, think about your vision, the blue sky stuff. What would you like, working backwards? I'd say to you, don't wait for there to be a need for change. Look for the value in change. If you're in a situation where you're thinking, gosh, we need to make changes to the school and the incubator is going to be the way to do it, the showcase, then actually you've got other problems that you need to sort out first. If you're in a position at the moment where you think, okay, what we're doing is good, but there is so much more value in the change, then go for it. The ETF, the framework, which I'm sure Niall will go into more detail later, is invaluable, but it's also adaptable to your context. So don't think that you're going to become a robotic process. People like Sarah and Olivia and other schools who have done this, my advice is get in touch with us as well, because everyone's own journey is going to be slightly different. And the end of the horizon is actually the exciting part, but you don't take your eyes off the amazing things you're doing on the road to get there. And for us, the incubator stage, take a year, take 2 years. That was where the real value in this whole process has come from, I'd say.
Fantastic. Hold on, let's just adjust that there. I love the point that you made there, that you went in for totally different reasons and you've come out like much the richer for that. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. How did you find out kind of about the program? Where did that come from?
Team Scotland, through Microsoft, through the family of other educators, really. And you know, the sharing, if you're not really engaged in that Team Scotland or wherever your Microsoft educators sort of family connections are, do get in touch with people. You know, don't just passively see the teams pop up. Ask the questions, read that post, like something. You know, these are real people at the other end of those messages with their own experiences, and you can't undervalue that them as a resource for this. It really is great community to help each other along the way.
No, absolutely. And I'm just kind of linking into there. I will pop up again your Twitter handle there. So if anybody does have kind of any questions or wants to see what Simon's been doing, certainly his Twitter is becoming very populated with with pictures and videos and kind of everything that you've been taking part with from ESMS. So yeah, thank you very much for your kind of very quick input there. Don't worry, we'll bring you back in about kind of 10 minutes or so you get a wee bit of...
I'm just pleased I managed to speak in 5 minutes.
No, that was ideal. So thank you very much. I'm going to ask Olivier I think it's Olivier actually that I've put in next. Let's just double check. Yes, it is. So I'm going to ask Olivier just to pop in just now. So I'm just going to add you in there. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Yourself?
Good. Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I've been making sure everything's been kind of prepped for today's session. So it's been quite a fun one that I've had. So I'm going to just kind of pop up the kind of year. Where are we? I'm just going to remove myself in just a second. There we go. I'm going to pop up the presentation there just so that everybody can kind of see who's talking. I'm going to hand over to you, Olivier, just kind of talk about your kind of experience being in the incubator program, kind of where it started, where you've ended up, and kind of what you've learned from the program. So over to you, Olivier.
So a bit different from Simon. So for me, it was never quite the accolade we were after. So it was that whole transformation framework that was very much needed. So during the pandemic, I think we were all doing kind of ad hoc pedagogical videos for staff, learners, and parents as well. So what was lacking after a while, it was some kind of structure. So when basically, I think I stumbled upon the Microsoft Innovative Expert kind of community by chance, and then eventually opened that kind of Pandora's box to the incubator program, and I started to kind of just go into this a bit more with a bit more kind of work, and again, because it was needed, we needed some clear guidelines. And what I've done is kind of look through Google how many showcase schools there were in Scotland. I got in touch with 2 schools, and Sarah Clark, who's really famous in the community and also extremely helpful, guided us. We had a wee chat with my people, senior management in the school, Sarah and myself, and she kind of guided us through the process, and that got us really enthused just to get into, I'm repeating myself here, but just having the clear framework, this clear kind of quantifiable mini targets that we could set for ourselves. Like most people for the last 2 years, we really worked really hard to upscale ourselves, and we use all the Office 365 tools. So it was just a logical kind of next step for us to really fully embrace with the program. So last year when we joined the incubator showcase, so we had a clear review, and thanks again to the community with the Microsoft Expert program. Like, it was really helpful to just pick ideas from here and there and kind of define what was needed. Like Simon said, you can really use that and tailor-made it to suit the needs of your school. So this is what we did. And we did some kind of, all that was supported by a lot of hard work from our current staff. And like Simon mentioned, this is not the end of a journey accolade. This is just something that we really want to maintain. There's a lot of work for us to continue to do. I think our next step is to look into more like inclusive pedagogies using all the digital means that we have. So yeah, like I just said, this is something that we very much embrace as a whole school. And I'm looking forward to continuing. We have 6 MIEE, so Microsoft Innovative Experts. So this is something, a community that I would like to grow as well as part of the vision as well, part of the education transformation framework. I think the more you have, this is something I would definitely recommend. And that's again, if we're looking into ideals, I would definitely recommend to have one in each department, just for the simple pool and just the variety of tasks and just the sharing of good practice we get across all those platforms. It's just been an amazing journey to be part of, meeting all the experts. Like, we had a meet recently. There was one in Glasgow, there was one in June in Edinburgh, and that's such a fantastic group of people that really keen to share what they have. And I think if you had somebody from each department represented, you would do so much great work in your school. So I would, just definitely recommend for everyone to join and start the journey. And please, the one last thing I'm going to say, and I conclude with this, is do not be worried about the lack of hardware. We do not have a one-to-one device, and that didn't stop us from trying our best with what we had and make it work. So yes, I would definitely recommend people to continue.
Nice one. Thank you very much. You mentioned there kind of about the certifications and about how you've got, was it 6 MIEEs within the school? How did your staff kind of take to sit in the certifications? Like, was there time put aside, or did they do that in their free time? How did that work?
So
for your staff?
If we look into the Microsoft Innovative Educator certification, so that certification, we had time aside, which was great. Actually, the school, I was in last January, so set up some time during one of our in-service days. So we had some time to go over, and what it allowed me is to go into the Microsoft page with all the official videos, and instead of all the homemade videos I mentioned earlier. So for me, it was a mean to get staff on board to see how they could actually do, customize their own mini CLPL online. And so they had about 2 hours aside to complete the courses. And then also now, we can create our own kind of best of online CLPL, so through the Microsoft page as well. So this is how we've been going about that. For the MCs, we took opportunities I got through the Microsoft Expert page. So we got our own teams, and this is very invaluable. So I was able to ask. We got 4 MCs currently. We got 1 tonight trying to set this.
Good luck.
So hopefully we get a 5th member. And for the MIEEs, it's just every time, from a call, we get this kind of bi-monthly calls and all that. I always come back so enthusiastic to different department. I go to the biology department. Look, I've seen this great tool here. How about you try that? So instead of having just me going around, having other people embracing it in different parts of the school as kind of helping spreading the good word.
Nice one. That sounds fantastic. So, I mean, everybody has put in a heap of work into kind of all the applications and all kind of the years that have gone into this program. So thank you, Olivier. That was ideal. I'll bring you back in for kind of a big group discussion in about 5 minutes or so, if that's all right.
Right. Thanks for having me, Niall, today. I appreciate
it. I'm going to swap out just now, and I'm going to bring in Sarah. How you doing?
Hi, all right, thanks.
Good. How was your day today?
It was good, but there was a bit of flooding, but otherwise it was all right. Quite wet and trim.
Hopefully not in your classroom.
Not in my classroom.
That's not so bad then. So Sarah is again one of our fantastic recently graduated showcase schools. You, like everybody, had a fantastic application. So yeah, I'm going to hand over to you, Sarah. I'm going to ping up the presentation again. I'm going to pull myself away, and yeah, we'd love to hear about your journey.
Okay, so I'm probably going to echo a lot of what Simon and Olivia have already said. I think initially we put a lot of work in throughout lockdown and even before lockdown, trying to upskill staff. We had put in place a digital plan of sorts at that point, and we had a few really keen staff in the school who were making great use of technology in their departments, but it was very much maybe just a smaller group of interested staff. And then obviously COVID hit, and we put so much work in with help videos, help guides, training through what's now Microsoft Learn. And I had joined the MIE Expert programme in 2019 after meeting Sarah Clark at a Microsoft Live event. So it was just such a great community. Like, the help that they gave throughout lockdown was honestly invaluable. And I just thought, what a fantastic group of people. And so that was just so useful. We found out a bit more about showcase schools, and I was initially put off because we weren't a one-to-one school. So maybe what Olivier mentioned there, don't let that put you off. It did initially put us off thinking, you know, we don't have one-to-one devices. Maybe we wouldn't meet the criteria for this. But we contacted Tablet Academy and then got on the incubator programme. And I think initially as well, we were thinking, just like Simon said, oh, this would be a really great accolade and really show and I suppose be a reward for all the amount of effort that parents, staff and pupils had put in. But the minute we kind of looked at it, we thought, actually, this is just going to really help us focus on what we need to do. One of the first things we looked at was the ETS, the Education Transformation Framework. And that probably made us think, oh, do you know, actually, we've still got quite a lot to do. We're maybe not quite there yet. But it was a really good structure to allow us to see where would we like to be, where are we now, and how are we going to get to where we want to be and make that difference. So we completely redid our digital strategy and based it around the Education Transformation Framework to really help us kind of pin down what our goals were. So we kind of highlighted we wanted a more strategic view of what our plan was going to be for the next 2 years. We wanted to try and improve consistency across the school and to make sure that people were using platforms in a consistent way to make it easy for students. And also we'd kind of identified that new staff, we had to have something in place to help upskill student teachers, NQTs and new staff that had joined the school, because obviously everyone maybe had come from different backgrounds or had different experience with Microsoft products. Some people might have come from a Google school. So that was really the basis of our plan over the incubator programme. And it was just a fantastic opportunity really for us. We got to hear from all sorts of schools across the UK who were doing all sorts of wonderful things and gave us a lot of ideas that we could put into practice in our own school. So I would say, don't let the one-to-one device put you off. It's a fantastic supportive network and you'll gain so many ideas from people who are on the incubator programme and from schools who are already showcase schools. If you've got a question, there'll be somebody there that knows the answer that can come and help you and find a solution for you going forward. And even if you think you wouldn't be able to attend them in person, they're all recorded. So a lot of the time, if I had a class, it was all right, it was recorded, I could go back and watch it and share it with other members of staff in my school. So yeah, it was invaluable really. And it really helped us drive things forward over the course of the year.
Fantastic. Oh, hold on, I've gone too big. There we go. Fantastic. So, Sarah, your application was, I mean, there was a bit of kind of panic at the end there.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it was a fantastic application, but just kind of one of the kind of reasons where if anybody is on the fence of applying just now, I have sent out the official form for signing up, just so that we make sure that everybody's kind of officially in there. How did you find kind of the application process? Was there any kind of hurdles, or was there anything kind of that you found?
I would say start gathering your evidence early. Yep. So that you're not doing it at a mad rush at the end. I always say that's what I'm going to do, and then maybe don't. We were doing the Digital Schools Award at the same time, so in some ways I actually think that helps because there was a lot of overlap of the sort of evidence that we needed to gather. But I would say start to reach out to the departments across your school, get a group of people involved so that it represents all the wonderful things that are happening across your school, and to showcase what's happening in different departments that maybe you weren't even aware of. They give you a template so that you can have a structure to your application, which I thought was really, really useful. And also there was examples from previous applications that you could go and have a look at and use that to think, okay, so that's the sort of information that needs to go in here. And I used that a lot. I looked through a lot of the previous applications. And again, Sarah Clark, she had sent me hers as well so that I could have a look at that. So that was that was really, really useful.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, fantastic. I'll pull everybody in now. I've got a load of different questions just to kind of ask. I've written them all down just as prior to this, but as everybody was talking as well, I've taken a few other ones down just kind of as we're going through. So I'll pop back to Simon just now. So kind of how is your support network in the school built? Like, did you have that prior to joining the program, or within the school, did you kind of find that just developed naturally?
So we have, obviously we're a family of independent schools, 2 senior schools with a combined junior school as well, and a combined sixth form to sort of bring everyone back together again in our system of working. We have 3 CPD coordinators, so across the schools anyway. You've got to look at the whole COVID thing as that year or 2 years of Phoenix, right? Out of the ashes come good things. And for us, timing was perfect for this to allow a streamlining of a better approach to PRD for our staff. I mean, Microsoft Learn is there, it's accessible, it's a consistency that all staff can access that gives them. Our landing page of our VLE is about my little message there about confidence and competence. That's what we're striving to elevate, to promote for our staff, our pupils, our families, because the two go hand in hand. It's all very well giving someone a skill, that's the competence, but if they don't have the confidence to use it or the need to use it, it's like when I learned Japanese in 6th year. No disrespect to my teachers who might be listening, I don't know much of it now because it was great at the time, but I've never been able to use it in a context. This has given us that context, and the framework, the ETF with the pillars, and like I say, adjustable. That was the beauty. Don't let that put you off and think it's going to change our ethos of the school. It doesn't. The whole, and as Sarah said, going through the form and the application, sway is always a cold sweat that it gives me. When someone says I have to do something on sway, I'm instantly thinking, oh, but actually it's that opportunity that makes you stop and look at yourself from an objective point of view. And it's actually one of those really rewarding times. It's like writing school reports. Everyone dreads them at the time that they're building up. But when you start doing them and then when they're finished, you think, gosh, that was fabulous. We've got so much good happening in our classrooms, in our schools. And the showcase actually just allows you to swallow the sort of humble pie a little bit and recognize that, not for yourself as individuals, not Sarah and Olivia and I, but actually for the whole school community. It is that, wow, look, well done. This global benchmark. And actually, maybe arguably, I'm going to be controversial here. People shouldn't think, oh, showcase schools are above and beyond everything else. That should be the benchmark going forward now, because it's absolutely accessible for everyone. There's so much help out there from other schools driving this forward. It's about the bigger picture.
No, absolutely. I love that. I like that kind of you mentioned a lot about the whole schools. Obviously, you've got the kind of multiple schools that you're kind of supporting there. Did the pupils have an idea that you were taking part in the program at all? Like, was it mentioned at all, or was it more of a kind of educator side?
I'd say definitely background. It was in the background. Now, partly that was deliberate because it's an additional pressure on people. But the reason we also took 2 years in the incubator stage was I wanted us to be ready. I didn't want, when our announcement came out that we were showcase schools, I mean, actually it came out at the time of Her Majesty's passing, so we weren't able to share that. We had a social media blackout from our schools. And that, again, I think added the value of it. It was what we were already doing by that point. So it removed the sort of finite goal. This is us. We've done this. Now let's sit back and think, great, we're showcase school. And actually, really, for us, it embedded the whole idea of this is us now. This is just our journey. Brilliant. Let's keep going.
I love that. That's fantastic. So it's kind of developed on the school ethos and kind of everybody's marching forward. I love that. That's fantastic. Olivier, I'll jump onto you next from my list of questions that we've got in here. So were there any new tools that you've kind of picked up and learned about that you didn't use prior to joining the incubator program?
I think we didn't have consistent use of reading progress in the school, and this is something that I'm going to push, not push, but I'm going to share more with like in English as well, and literacy and small group settings, ASN students as well, so support staff. So we need to, I think that's definitely our next step. So I've really enjoyed, I've invested a wee bit for my department. So we all have the beautiful headset with the microphones now. We are ready to, I see the value in it in my subject, so in languages, and I just want to be able to share that as a whole school. So a wee bit more. I think it has tremendous value just for the learners themselves. I think they see it as a challenge, even if it's not sometimes 100% accurate in terms of, from a language perspective. But if you have, I see it like this watch that kind of, you have your steps and your calories. It's not how many calories you spend, you're wasting in a day. It's just a target. So if you have a 70% at this reading, next one target will be more and will be more. And they are very competitive. We find all our learners very competitive. And so we usually, you can allow so many submissions for each reading progress. So it could be 2, 3, 4, or just unlimited. So I always go for unlimited. Sometimes I see, maybe I should know, but I see you have like 8, 9 attempts for this. It's great to see. So just using that as a really competitive tool, and that kind of work. So yeah, reading progress, something I'm gonna spend a bit more time on now.
I love that. I like that you were talking about the resilience there. That even though your students are spending 8 or 9 attempts on that, they're still learning. They're still kind of pushing forward with that. That's great. We've had somebody add in a wee comment into the chat there. So I think this might be Sarah, but I might be wrong. Yes. Yeah. Saying so good to hear your journey, guys. As you say, not being one-to-one shouldn't stop you, and the ETF really helps you to see what you want to do as a school. I absolutely love that. If anybody
Sarah's
does have
burning.
What was that? Sorry.
Sarah's ears were burning. All the kudos that we're giving her.
Must have been. So if anybody is watching this live, please do pop your comments and your questions, or kind of even your favorite bits into the YouTube chat. I'll be sharing them all. I'll pop them all on. So please do share them if you've got any questions or any comments. Let's just hide that one there. So popping up to you there, Sarah. So our Sarah that's with us today. How did you find your kind of the communities outside of the kind of our tight knit program helped? Like, were you joining in with using the hashtag Team MIEE Scotland, or were you involved in any other kind of other channels or teams out there? How did you find joining these other communities?
Yeah, definitely make good use of hashtag Team MIE Scotland. If you haven't before, you should definitely go and have a look at it. There's some fabulous stuff on there, and it will give you a whole host of just really inspiring and knowledgeable people to follow, which is probably how I started on the whole thing, was just through Twitter, like seeing what different people around the country were doing and thinking, gosh, look at what that person's doing, look what that person's doing, that's amazing, I'm going to follow them. And then, like I say, meeting Sarah in person at an event kicked off, and she kind of encouraged me to join, because at that point I thought, oh, these people they're definite experts, I'm probably not at that level, but I would just say definitely put in to be an MIE expert. It's a fantastic opportunity. The group are just so friendly and so helpful. So I would say that team's been brilliant. Also, obviously have the UK team as well, and the connection calls through that. So you always get really good updates, and again, get to hear from people around the UK and what they're doing in their schools and in their departments. So it's just really inspiring to see what other people are doing, and you can kind of note down things that you want to try or share with your school. I'm trying to think what other groups have been on. So the Scottish one, the UK one, the incubator program that you would join is also really helpful. Just to see people who are going through the same process as you, I suppose, the same journey. So they've just joined as an incubator. They're maybe thinking about their own strategies and looking to see, especially I suppose for us, like looking how other people had improved consistency across the school, was quite helpful as well. But
Nice
Team
one.
I Scotland definitely
Yeah.
follow it.
And I don't know if you saw there, Sarah, if it is, I'm pretty sure it's Sarah, popped up whilst you were talking there. She popped in a wee comment with the hashtag and the love heart there. So yeah, no, I totally agree. Joining these communities is a massive help, even just to kind of see what everybody's doing, and just to kind of check that you're on the right path, which I know most people out there absolutely are. Have you made?
Oh, sorry. I said we were quite fortunate, I suppose, in South Ayrshire as well, that we've got quite a good network of digital champions there, and also South Ayrshire MIEs. And we have our own team. So it's nice to be able to share with folk even in your more local community as well. And one of the things that we're keen to do is to reach out to primary schools and to try and meet with our kind of feeder primary schools and work with them. So that's our plan for this year.
I love that. Yeah, because you've got Amanda Picard and you've got Rosalind as well down nearby. I think Rosalind's a council up, is she? Yeah, so they're all nearby as well. So yeah, I really like that kind of bringing in the local community as well. Fantastic. Kind of popping back to you there, Simon. If I'll check, nobody's added any comments, please do ask your questions away. Now's the perfect time to do it. How did you find the session times? So, like, did you have to join sessions on demand, or were you kind of able to watch things live? How did you find that kind of process?
Look, being a teacher, I suppose, yes, you have a timetable through the day, but actually your time's never your own. I think I was a fair mix of both. There were some live sessions that were really useful to be able to hear and see. There is something more powerful about not watching a recording afterwards, but necessity demands that you can't always do that. So I think Sarah touched on this too. You mustn't feel bad about being able to do that. That is your only opportunity to engage sometimes. But the beauty of certainly even recent correspondence with Microsoft is people understand that. First and foremost, it's learning and teaching. And you can't put a stop on that to be able to join a call. And ultimately, those organizing calls, they can't find the perfect time to catch everyone. So take advantage of the opportunity for that sort of hybrid mix of online, in person, better still, and offline afterwards.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely love that. I'm quite lucky that I'm not tied to a class, so I can join these calls during the day. But yeah, I appreciate that if you've got a class during that time, it might be a little bit tricky sometimes to join in. So yeah, all the sessions are recorded. So if you ever do need to kind of catch the on demand, then that's absolutely open and available to you there. I'll pop over to you, Olivier. In fact, I'll ask this one for everyone. This is quite a good one. So. If you had to pick kind of 3 tools, your first one is a tool that you were surprised that you were using. Your second tool was one that supported the students. And your third tool was one that supports the educators in your school. What would those 3 tools be? So I'll repeat that for you again, because that's quite a tricky one. And we'll ask everybody this question. So what was one tool that you were surprised that you used kind of in your kind of school life a lot? One tool that you'd recommend for students, and one tool that you'd recommend for educators.
Okay, I'll go first then. I'd say the surprised one for us was probably Microsoft Teams. Before COVID, we had, I think, 7 Microsoft Teams set up across our schools. And I think 2 of them were mine because I was playing around with things. And then 1 week later, we had 1,100 set up. And between our VLE, Firefly, and Microsoft Teams, I think the easy to use approach that it offers, and obviously way back when there was like 9 on a screen, it was minimal compared to some of the other platforms out there. But you stick with it, and they listen at Microsoft Education, and I'd say that has been one of the most surprisingly sort of transformative apps and tools that we've used, that we are still using. I think that's the key. Look for things that served a purpose then, but are now completely integrated in day-to-day life. We're not a one-to-one school. We have individual devices for some of our year groups moving forward, but that's only a recent thing. Again, it wasn't part of our application at the time, but we have learned from the challenges that we faced. I'd say in terms of staff and pupils now, OneNote is probably, again, a really evolving tool that's almost become a verb for us. I'll OneNote that to you, or it's become, where we don't use jotters, it's become our best replacement for that. And the accessibility tools across the Microsoft package, really, but these two in particular, has meant that equity of learning for some of our students has been quite profound. It's been actually a wonderful experience to be able to see some children now engaging as completely different learners from what they were like before. It's about using the right tool for the right job. That's the beauty of EdTech. It never drives education, but it absolutely supports it and enhances it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I feel the same about OneNote. It's not something that I used until very recently, and I use it a lot now. It's so versatile. Is kind of what I would kind of advocate for it as, and you can bring in your images, you can bring in videos, whatever you're needing to.
And if you've got an inkable screen, wow.
Oh, that's
it's
a dream.
The way forward. Yeah, it's the way forward.
I love that. No, nice one. Great tools there. I like that. Olivia, how about yourself?
So one I've been using a lot recently and not so much before. So just as I became a head of department is to-do and planner within Teams for the department. So be able to set high priority tasks, medium tasks, be able to attribute tasks to specific educators and specific time as well. This kind of helps so much in terms of even myself, in terms of mental health, because I don't need to think about those things. So just quickly, because you can have the app on your phone if you have to think about something, and just quickly put that in. That's out of your head. You don't need to worry about it, and it's really effective tool. In terms of for the students, what supported them a lot, we embraced the forms as a health and well-being check-in. So we have QR code at the entrance of the school for a different house, so students can get in touch just by using a QR code, get into a form instead of waiting patiently, sometimes a very long time in that pupil support corridor. So that streamlined this. There's a tool that I'm keen to see how we could maybe change that into Reflect. So I think that we're going to have a few meetings this year to see how we can embed Reflect. I'm looking forward to hearing from schools as well how they've used it. I don't know if any of you, Sarah and Simon, have you started to look into this a little bit more?
Yep. We have with our junior school.
Yeah.
As a whole school, or for individual teachers checking in with their class, is there like some kind of policy around it?
Yeah. We've just started with it because obviously we didn't have it before in Glow, so now that it's appeared, we've kind of been trying it out in our department first, but really liking it. It's quite nice, even as a sort of exit pass at the end of the period, to get a gauge on how students have felt about that lesson or about a particular topic, or a check-in in the morning about how they're feeling that day. So yeah, we'll need to maybe look at it more, but I think it looks quite good. It looks useful.
What would you say? My
would be into it, but they seem to be as well.
My dilemma is like, do we push this as more into a health and well-being concept? Is that Reflect more geared towards that, or like like you said, a lot of us are tempted to use it, for gathering kind of opinion and feedback at the end of a lesson, which we could also do with Paul within Teams. So I'm not too sure how we approach it as a school. So I think I'm going to need, like yourself, we need to hear from a lot of practice around the country, and that's why we have this Microsoft expert page like set up. It's good to be able to have that dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. No, certainly. I mean, you mentioned Reflect there. I love using Reflect. I think it's great for that formative feedback, but also kind of the summative as well. Just kind of seeing how did that whole lesson or series of lessons or that topic go. I think it's brilliant for that. So yeah, no, nice one. Thank you. And Sarah, how about yourself? So I'll just kind of go through it again because it's been a while since I said it. So one tool that surprised you, one tool that you'd recommend for students to get into, and one tool for educators to get into.
Okay. So I might be repeating slightly, but
That's fine.
educators, I would agree probably OneNote. I can't imagine now my life without OneNote, and I know that sounds quite sad, but it's true. I've been using OneNote for a number of years now, even before kind of lockdown and COVID hit. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, this has got so much potential in the classroom. And I was really keen, especially as an admin teacher, to try and minimise the amount of paper we were using as well. The printing from pupils, printing from staff, the photocopying, and just pieces of paper everywhere. We use OneNote as our digital jotter. We use it as their printer. So they print directly into OneNote. So if they're doing a spreadsheet, they can print the formula view, it goes into OneNote. We can digitally mark it using digital inking. We just got graphics tablets. So maybe £30 for a graphics tablet that we plug in, and then we can use that. So we don't have touchscreen laptops or anything like that, but we just use a graphics tablet to then mark, and we can digitally ink that way. And it just gives you so many options for feedback. So you can make your own digital stickers. You can use stickers that are already included. You can also do things like audio feedback. So a lot of our students, we try and mix it up a bit to give them, typed comments, digital linking, audio feedback. You can embed videos as well. So if you've got maybe something from ClickView that you want to put in as an example, or something you've recorded yourself, you can do that too. So I think it just gives so many options. It's really, really good way to share resources, and even for my own management, like schemes of work and to-do lists and things, I've got that all in one OneNote. What was the other one? Pupils, students, I suppose. I mean, even immersive reader, like I think showing students immersive reader and making sure that they know how to use that in all the different platforms that's available to them, then that can be really useful. Especially now as well, we have some students where English is maybe not their first language, so they can use Translate in there as well. So I would say that's definitely one to share with students. And we teach all of our first years that across all of first year now, so that going through the school, they know how to use it. And then the surprise one is the one I'm struggling with. I'm trying to think of one that's been surprising. Let me think. I suppose just Teams in general and how it just keeps evolving and all the new things that come into it. Group assignments, fantastic, love that. No more is it someone's off and they had the PowerPoint and now we can't do it anymore. It's all in the group assignment, love it. Being able to return assignments for review instead of them just being returned. So I feel like we give lots of feedback back, and Microsoft just make all these wonderful changes that make it better. So I'm always surprised by the changes that come, the updates.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with the amount of new things that are coming out. Certainly through Teams, because it integrates with so many things as well. So yeah, I love that. And Sarah's added to your points about OneNote there. It should never make you sad.
She's right.
It's #wonderful. I love that. If you do have any questions for any of our guests, please do pop them into the comments or chat. We'd kind of love to help you out if you do have any questions about the program. It's been nice and informal today, so we've been talking both about the incubator program and kind of about life in school as well. But if you do have any questions, please do pop them into the chat. I do have a couple of questions left over, but I'm going to save them for the end. What I'm going to do just now is I'm going to just kind of pop on with the presentation, kind of chat for a wee bit, about 5 minutes or so, and then if anybody has asking any questions, then hopefully if everybody's still around, you don't have to be, you can absolutely head if you've got other places to be, but if you are still around, hopefully you can help out anybody with any other questions. So thank you everybody for joining us. I'm going to just kind of hide you just now. And if you're still around, I'll kind of bring you back in for afterwards. So I'm just going to pop up the presentation there. So yeah, share your questions in the chat. If you've got any questions for everybody, please do pop them in there. So kind of a big part of the incubator program is the education transformation framework. So we refer to this quite often as the ETF. And this is kind of the backbone of the incubator program, really. The incubator program really is a place for you to build on the technology and the skills that you already have within your school, and it just allows you to up level from where you are as a school, and build on that community of learners, not only your learners but educators as well. So we will have a look at the ETF just now. very quickly. So it's based around these 4 pillars here. So we've got leadership and policy, we've got teaching and learning, we've got intelligent environments, and we've got student and school success. Now, this is the hard bit where I don't want to give too much away about the program. Obviously, you're going to learn about each of these as we go through the program throughout either the 1 year or the 2 years that you take to take part. I know Simon mentioned that the schools that he's in took joined the incubator program over the 2 years, and that's absolutely fine. A lot of schools maybe will be more comfortable sitting those 2 years, and that's no problem. A lot of schools will be ready pretty much now to want to graduate, and we'll just kind of help you to build that application to kind of extend the abilities of the staff and the students within your school, and kind of help with the knowledge there of everybody that is there kind of within the school. So within the ETF, we've got these 4 pillars here, and you can see within each of these, it's a wee bit small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, can I make it full screen? A wee bit bigger. That'll do. Is that I can we can break those down into smaller areas as well. So within leadership and policy, we're going to be having a look when you join the program at visions for change, at strategic planning and change management, continuous improvement in culture, and community engagement and partnerships. Within the teaching and learning pillar, throughout the year or 2 years, you're going to be having a look at the student-centered learning, curriculum and assessment, devices for learning, and your learning spaces as well. One kind of key area for me is that your learning spaces aren't necessarily physical places. They might be kind of the online places that you're building already. So linking into what Simon, Sarah, and Olivier have all mentioned today, looking at places like your teams or building on those kind of group work areas for your students. They don't necessarily have to be in the same place, and your learning could be synchronous, or as we've seen over the past couple of years, the kind of growth in asynchronous learning as well. So certainly learning spaces is a key area for this program. We've got our intelligent environments pillar as well in the middle there, the orange one. And within that, we're going to be covering hybrid learning, safety, security, and policy. We've got optimized and sustainable operations as well, advanced analytics and AI. And those are kind of the areas under the intelligent environments pillar. And the last pillar we've got today is student and school success. So throughout the year or the 2 years, we're going to be covering educator, leader, and IT development, future-ready skills, social emotional learning, and equity, inclusion, and accessibility. Now, one of my previous roles was as an additional support needs teacher. So accessibility, inclusion, and equity is kind of one of those areas that I'm really interested in personally. One of my favorite tools is mentioned, I think it was Sarah that mentioned it, is the immersive reader, just so that it involves your students in everything that you're doing. It allows everybody to kind of access the learning that we've got, and we can use a multitude of tools to support all of our learners. So these are the 4 pillars from the Education Transformation Framework. And within each of these, we've given you a little kind of taste of what we're going to be having a look at throughout the year or the 2 years. Let's just see. So what we'll do is I'm going to just share a screen instead. So I'm going to remove myself. I'm going to present a window. So let's pop. I'm just going to share this instead. Okay, that's fine then. And I'm going to head to my edge that I was using for the presentation earlier. So this is the best website to find out a little bit more information about the Education Transformation Framework. So here we've got the pillars and we've got all of the areas underneath these. A brilliant kind of quotation here that I've highlighted there is that the Microsoft Education Transformation Framework is a guide for education leaders to navigate the complexity of transformation impacting every aspect of their mission. It facilitates the process of envisioning what's possible and developing a strategy to achieve it. So that just kind of gives you a taster of what the Education Transformation Framework does to support your students, and how we can use it to kind of enhance our policies within the school and kind of get that buy-in from all the major investors who kind of support education within your school, whether that's your management team, whether that is any of your educators or your supporters. It just kind of helps and kind of brings everybody together. When you come down, you've got in the middle there, you've got some case studies to have a little look at and resources. But one of the kind of key areas here is that you can go into learn more for each of the pillars within here. So within leadership and policy, I can click learn more. And from there, I can learn a little bit more about the leadership and policy areas within the kind of the ETF and what we'll be covering. And we will cover absolutely everything that's within here over the year or the 2 years as well. So we've got all the areas that we've covered there, and we've got access to the resources down at the bottom as well. You can click up at the top and you can jump between all of the other 4 pillars, and you can access and kind of get a little bit of kind of more support if you are needing it. One of my favorite bits as well is down at the bottom, and if you are joining the program, we'll be doing this within, I think it's the next 2-3 weeks or so, is taking the assessment. So you can use this to find out where you are as a school, and you can kind of, it gives you, well, you give yourself a score rating, if my Wi-Fi is going to load up there, on kind of where you are as a school, kind of on different parts of the ETF. So I think what I'm going to have to ask you to do is kind of have a look at that yourself. My internet's struggling a wee bit there. That's all right. Oh, here we go. So we can take the assessment, and from there, we can have a look at each of the 4 pillars, and we can give ourselves a kind of a score based on those. So these scores, these kind of ratings, are what you're going to be using to kind of see where you are as a school and where you're going to be in the future. When it comes to your application, we're only looking for schools to have kind of reached the level 3 to level 4 areas. So you can have a look at each of these, maybe all the way down, all of these questions, you're kind of level 3, and then you get to this question here and you're level 2, you're within the emerging part. That gives you an idea of where you're needing to go. So for example, your summative assessment data is gathered only a few times a year, whereas when you jump up to level 3, there's a centralized reporting platform that you're using. So it gives you an idea of kind of where you are and where you're wanting to go to. Like we said, the program is 1 or 2 years long. It's up to you kind of where you go with that. And have I forgotten anything? I'm going to pop back to the team of special guests there, see if there's anything that I've forgotten to include there. I'm just going to pop back up to the browser that I was using. So I'll just remove that there. Is there anything that I've kind of, I don't want to give too much away, obviously, about the program, but is there anything that I've kind of not mentioned or a major part of the program?
No, that assessment was really useful. I would just flag that. I remember doing that with a cross section initially of my staff. I didn't send it out to every person, but I cherry picked people from different departments, people with different confidence levels and mindsets towards EdTech, because it is what you want is a real honest opinion. You do not want to go into that with all 3s and 4s, because if that's not really what happens in the data, it's like an inspection, isn't it, for the school? You've got to be able to be as transparent with as much integrity as you can, so that whatever you say in that assessment, if someone were to come into your school, that's what they see. So be harsh on yourself. There's, if that's what you feel it is, because it's absolutely the most valuable way forward. The pillars themselves, I always flip them around and change the order a little bit. I always have learning and teaching first in my mindset, and school vision and leadership comes second. That's just our approach. That should be what is being driven by learning and teaching, and arguably 21st century or future ready skills. And I think equity and inclusion, I always think really should be in teaching and learning, but I get it. The graphics can't fit them all in. But that, again, that's the beauty of the ETF. I think if you as a school are passionate about something, don't let the ETF change you. Use it to highlight what you're doing and adapt it, and get in touch with people like Niall. And I remember picking your brains and Luis often about saying, oh, what about this bit? This is how I interpret this. Is that okay? Make use of that community, make use of the platform you've got to ask the questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going to pop up there again, our handles there for Twitter as well. So if you do have any questions, absolutely, as Simon said, get in contact and really do pick our brains. There's obviously I'm in schools quite a bit as well, and I'm out traveling, but there's some days where I'm sat in front of a computer and I'm more than happy to answer any questions, because I'm if emails are coming in, I'm talking to people, I'm going to be happy. So please do kind of contact us, either Twitter. I'm going to share my email address at the end as my public-facing email address. So if anybody does have any questions, then I can kind of go from there and kind of help you out. Absolutely. Sarah or Olivier, was there anything that you'd add in about the program, or is there anything that I've forgotten to include there?
If I may just add, is exactly what Simon said. Is just the fact that, and I'm sorry if I've not mentioned that earlier, but of course, part of our journey was working with you at the Academy, and there were times where you were almost literally holding our hands through the application process, through so many different aspects of this program. So that's been a tremendous help, and just having that. Access to our incubator group as well, yourself, and there was some very, very informative videos posted for instance, to help us going through the MC process. So no, definitely thank you for that. Sorry for not mentioning that earlier. I feel a bit stupid.
Don't worry about that. That's my role here, is to help you through it, so and kind of bring out the best of everybody. So yeah, I mean, this place is all about you. And kind of about your journeys. I mean, I'm just behind a computer screen, so you're the guys putting in the hard work there. So yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Sarah, how about yourself? Is there anything that
I would just say much the same. Just reach out if you wanted to know anything about it, then please just get in touch. More than happy to tell you a wee bit about the experience that we had, or things that we put in place, or if you wanted to have a look at any of our sways, or I know Olivia, you did a video, then happy to share that. And yeah, just reach out. I see Ian Stewart's on, and I should mention Ian Stewart as well, because we originally had our meeting with Ian when he was at Microsoft to talk about the Showcase School way back, and then with yourself, Niall, as well, for Tablet Academy. So there's a lot of help and support out there, and just ask.
No, absolutely. And Ian's added in there about the new version of OneNote being announced, which is really exciting, and about how kind of equally important all the pillars are. And it's about where you start that suits your school community. Yeah, I love that. And every school is different as well. Everybody's coming from different backgrounds and kind of from a different place. And that's absolutely fair. So where you start is absolutely up to you, and we'll kind of help you and tailor whatever sessions we've got to you, and kind of help you kind of as we go through it there. We've got a couple of minutes left. If you do have any questions, anybody that's watching live, please do pop them into the chat. I'm gonna just kind of plug a few wee bits before we head, so let's just pull everybody aside there so it's easy to see. So we've got the Learn code from today, excuse me. So please do head on to Microsoft Learn and kind of evidence that you've taken part today. Pop in the code, and you'll get your certificate to say that you've joined, or your badge, certainly. And it's great for when you are filling in your end of, was it 5 years or so, your CPD, is great for that, to say that you have been kind of putting in the hours and kind of up leveling both your school and yourself. So there's a free Learn code for you there. We've got the post survey as well. You'll find it up in the chat, so you've got the link to copy from within there, or you can just type in the bit.ly, which is up in the URL bar up at the top. Just put in bit.ly/ capital letters TAS dash and then lowercase showcase. So that's just a little survey just to kind of see how we've done today, and let us know what your favorite bits were. And lastly, if you are interested in joining the program, please do send me an email. So you can email me at niall.ridgway@scott.tablet.academy. Again, you'll find it in the chat, so you can kind of drop me a wee email there, or you can contact any of us. I'm just going to pop up the banner again on Twitter, and we'll all help you out there and kind of lead you to where you need to be, or answer any questions that you've got. So does anybody have any questions before we go for our fantastic guest? This is the perfect time to ask. I'm just going to remove that banner there. Now's the best time to ask. So if you do have anything that you're wanting to know, please do pop it in the chat. If not, you're just going to have to deal with my questions that I've kind of come up with. Give that a wee 5 seconds or so for them to come in. No, I'm going for it. Right, so I'll make this open-ended. We've got about 30 seconds or so to go. Does anybody have any advice for anyone sitting on the fence?
Go for it. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Sarah?
Yep, do it. Just do it.
I'm sure that's a hashtag for something else, but we can use it.
Love it. And Olivia, have you got a hashtag for us as well, or you got any advice?
It's just joining an amazing community and group of people. So you there's nothing to regret here, and it's so much to gain, absolutely, on a daily basis. So, and things that you can use instantly in your classroom. That's what I love about it. You don't have to wait through 2-3 hour session. This is you could see a tweet from one of the person in the community like, "Why I should have done that before," and that's great. Let's just share it.
I love that. Well, thank you all for joining us so much, really, from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. This has been, it was a big ask from me for everybody to join today. So I really do appreciate everybody putting in the time. I hope that everybody who's watching has gained something from today's session. If you are sitting on the fence, absolutely drop us a wee message or an email, and we will help you out. We look forward to seeing the new cohort of incubators as they come in. And thank you again to everybody for joining us, and we'll see you all again soon. See you again.
Thanks, Niall.
Thank you, Niall. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, Niall.
Yeah, bye.